Hi, I'm Linda, and today I'm going to read the consonant stories in the Red Rat's book of Vowels and Consonants. And once I'm done reading them, we'll talk a little bit about the things you'd want to discuss with your student. Okay, the first story is the Red Rat and the Pesky Letters. Letter C is making me crabby, says the Red Rat. Sometimes it says K like crazy. Sometimes it says S like cereal. A sorcerer put a bad spell on letter C, the hen says. She begins to sing, sort of. I am letter C. A sorcerer put a spell on me. When I'm followed by I or E, I hiss like a snake, says letter C. When I or E is not after me, I say cat or cute or crabby. When I or E is after me, I say cereal or space or city. Letter C does not sing well, said the rat. Neither does letter G, says the hen. She sings again. I am letter G. A genie put a spell on me. When I am tailed by I or E, I sound like J, says letter G. When I or E is not after me, I say gosh or goofy or gutsy. When I or E is after me, I say ginger or genius or G. Okay, says the rat. What about wacko letter S? It hisses or buzzes. Its sound is a mess. The red hen takes a deep breath, and off she goes. I am in constant letter S. Sometimes I feel sassy and fresh. Then I hiss like a snake, says letter S. In sat and basket and history, you can hear the hissing sound of me. Unfortunately, I tire easily. It can take two of me to hiss, as in bliss and kiss and Swiss. And often, like in is and news, I get tired and need a snooze. At the end of a word like bees or beds, I snore away while I have a rest. When I snooze, I sound like letter Z. There's no difference between it and me. When you find me alone at the end of a word, remember, please do not disturb. Allow me to zzz while I'm dozing. If you don't hear me hissing, it's because I am buzzing. Bravo, says the red rat. That was painful. Healthful. You are a good teacher. Thank you, says the red hen. She bows to the left and to the right. I am as tired as letter S in a gaggle of geese, she says. I suspect it is time for a snooze. The red rat feels sorry for letter K. Why is letter K silent in knock and knife and knob, asks the red rat. It is hard to say knife and knock and knob, says the hen. People stopped saying it way back when. Now letter K is under a spell of silence when it comes before N. Poor letter K, says the rat. Letter C takes its place in crabby and candy and cat. Letters Q and U take its place in quick and quack. Poor letter K has to hide in back. Do not pity letter K, says the hen. Letter K kicks. She begins to screech. I am the mighty letter K. I kiss and I kayak. I quick wash and I Krispy Kreme. I am loud and proud. But when I go ahead of letter N, I do not make a sound. The rat feels tired. He thinks, I will put a silence spell on the hen, like letter K ahead of letter N. The rough, tough red rat. The red rat brings his book to the hen. He shows her some sentences. The man laughs. You're not tough enough, he says. I'm through with you. How do you pronounce L-A-U-G-H, he asks. Laugh, says the hen. How do you pronounce T-O-U-G-H, he asks. Tough. How do you pronounce E-N-O-U-G-H? Enough. How do you pronounce T S-H-R-O-U-G-H. Through. What? Not through? The rat is shocked. What about rough and enough? These words are stupid. People invented them a long time ago, says the hen. Now we're stuck with them. The hen writes a note and gives it to the rat. To the red rat. He reads, "It is what it is because that's how it was." "Ha ha," the rat says. He writes a note to the hen. "You are a funny hen." The hen gives another note to the rat. "Wishes, wishes, gold and riches. Are you tough enough to wash the dishes?" The rat laughs and laughs. The hen chuckles and clucks. They feel happy. And now we skip to the last story, which is about letters O-U-G-H. The vowels talk about letters O-U-G-H, recorded by the red rat. Letter A says, "Letters O-U-G-H in a group make us vowels look like poop." Letter O says, "Don't include me with that gang of three." Letters U, G, and H will not leave me alone. They visit, they email, they call on the phone. I don't want them beside me in bought and in thought. My short O is better alone in those spots. They stick themselves to me in dough and although they should leave me alone to say my long O. And what are they doing in plow and in bow? It would be easier just use ow. Letter U says, "Don't include letter U with the G and H twosome. Their manners are not only loathsome but gruesome. How dare they show up in rough and in tough, passing themselves off as short U and an F." Letter A says, "And how can they be in both height and in way, when the first says long I and the second long A?" Letter I says, "And neither says G and neither says H. Why do they not say their own names outright? They are sneaky because they are consonants, right?" Letter E says, "Wrong, letter I. That is false and untrue. Before you open your mouth, you should think your thought through. The GH pair in the past made a sound like a cough. We don't say their sound now, but we can't get them off. They're still stuck in words they should no longer be in." Letter A says, "They no longer have a pot to pee in." Letter I says, "A hot pot full of snot." Letter U says, "Some rough stuff in a powder puff." Letter O says, "Row, row, row your boat. How now, brown cow?" Letter E says, "Vowels are witty, consonants are not. Now, we should get going before it starts snowing." The end. Goodbye for now, brown cow. Okay. Things you want to talk about with your student when you read these stories. What you're doing is personifying the letters to give the student a world within which to see the letters' actions as making sense. The personalities of the vowels provide a structure or a paradigm within which to understand their behavior, instead of seeing their behavior as subject to arbitrary rules. It's one more way for the student to remember. So ask your student, if you were a vowel, which vowel would you want to be? Which vowel would be your friend? Which one do you not like? Try to get them into the personalities of the vowels. All right, as you're going over the stories, you'll come to the story about letter S. At that point, what you're going to do is introduce the idea of voiced and unvoiced cognates. S is the symbol for two phonemes, hiss and buzz, s and z. You will recall from the phoneme articulation video that z is the voiced cognate of s. Cognates are like identical twins, two things that come from the same place. So s and z are formed in your mouth identically, but in addition, z is voiced. Voiced means that you bring your vocal cords into play when making the sound. You can feel them vibrate by putting your fingers on your throat. You want to discuss with the student, why does the hen say she's as tired as letter S in a gaggle of geese? Well, the idea is because they hiss. And you want to talk about what is a gaggle. It's a group of geese. Okay, and then in Quick Wash and Krispy Kreme, you just want to point out that that's advertising writing. Sometimes they like to take K and stick it everywhere to make things look cool. When you get to the part where it says the word has 3 letters, if a word has few letters and the last says long I, the I saying letter is never I. It is always that pushy letter Y. I don't know why. I could cry. This is a good time to explain that the letter Y says long I at the end of tiny one-syllable words only. Like cry and my and spy. At the end of all bigger words with 2 or more syllables where the long E sound is wanted, letter Y symbolizes the long E sound. Why does letter Y take the place of letter E to make the long E sound at the end of words? Because letter E is overworked. It already has 1 or 2 jobs at the end of a word. For instance, in bite, letter E pulls the consonant T away from the vowel I, giving letter I room to be long. If letter E had to make its long sound as well, you would say bitey. And then what would happen to the word bite? It's just gone. And in price, letter E already has 2 jobs. It's pulling the consonant C away from the I, making letter I long. It's also telling letter C to hiss, like letter S. If it also had to make its long sound, things would get complicated. How would you know which job it's supposed to be doing? All of them? That could make this price, pricey, priss or prissy. 3 jobs is too many. Letter E is already exhausted. You can only multitask so much. In have, letter E is keeping have from ending with a V, which is not allowed. Why cannot a letter end with a V? Maybe its job here is to plug the V up. Maybe it's pushing on letter V. Maybe letter V is too viscous and vertical to pull away. Speculate, try to get a reason for the way these rules work. Anyway, for all these reasons, letter E made letter Y its deputy. Whenever the phoneme long E needs to be pronounced at the end of a word, letter Y jumps in and gives letter E a break. When letter E is not at the end of a word making the preceding vowel long, as in mess and risk, letter Y handles the long E sound, messy and risky. Otherwise, letter E might try to make the preceding vowel long. That would be confusing. Letter Y, we understand, is proud to be the deputy of letter E and hopes to be invited to the vowel Christmas party. In the letter I tastes sour grapes, you want to explain that sour grapes refers to the Aesop's fable, The Fox and the Grapes. When letter I says, why shouldn't I shout? Why should I shout my name? It is pretending that it doesn't care about what it can't have. The OUGH story has a lot of information. But you can talk about it, and you can speculate about it. For instance, suppose you remove UGH from the words that have OUGH in it. With through, if you remove the word UGH, though, you would get though. With thought, if you move the word UGH, you get thought. So these words now conform. This is a little word with a long O on end. This is a word with the O constricted by 2 consonants, so it has to be short. So you can play with the letters and help your student remember their behavior by giving their behavior a reason. It's always easier to remember something that makes sense. So build a world in which the rules of phonics make sense. And that's it for this video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.